random thoughts today, based off of, I don't only do videos myself, I watch my share of videos and I read comments as well. Call it what you want, that's what I do. And so on this video here today, I will be sharing my thoughts from my experiences and my views. Just sharing for, let's see, why would I want to share? For someone to get their own perspective of maybe, as they listen to someone else. I know I do that. I may not agree with what someone is saying, and I may not agree with what someone is saying, but I can take some of the stuff they're saying and develop my own way of thinking. And also it brings up thoughts from experiences that I may or may not have had in the past. Something like that. So this one, I can't beat around the bush, I'm just going to jump right into it, is I was reading a comment. It was from a live, and it said, okay, so it was one, these topics, okay. What I'm going to talk about is, this topic it can be very difficult for many reasons, which is the way I talk about race, racism, prejudice, and smash your fucking comments of victimhood. So anyway, I just had to get that out. And I say that because although many people want to try to wipe out that racism and prejudice and stuff like that don't exist in this world, it really does. I'm in the workplace, I'm in the community, I'm in family, I'm in just relationships, I'm in, just from my experience, and observations and living everyday life, it does exist. And it's not only from one race, it's not only from one color, right? It's from, at this point in life, after all these hundreds of years, it's embedded into many different colors. And it boils down to, for real, what I have learned, and it's no joke, it's for real, personalities, how people came up out of the stomach, how their personalities are, their horoscopes mixed in with their behaviors and their backgrounds, the childhood, the teenage, all the way into adulthood, and how we don't have or do have our own mind to know what feels good and what doesn't feel good, or just don't give a goddamn how anybody else feel, or are willing to care 2 cents about, for example, my actions and how they will or will not harm somebody else, and if I really believe something, how to come to a middle ground and get through with whether it's in the workplace, intimate relationships, business relationships, in the community, how to get to a middle ground of what's the solution, what's, the outcome going to be. All right. So, okay, going back to the live, there were questions, and so one person was getting on someone. They always ask in some of these lives, where are you from? I want to harp on that just a teeny weeny bit. Is so where are you from? Well, I'm from such and such. Well, where are you from? And then comes the bashing, the stereotyping, the labeling. I think instead of where are you from to get ready to attack, I think it should be more of a, and some of them are listening until it's like, why am I even listening to you? Because you are deflecting the conversation. You're getting off topic. You're showing your personality that is not going to benefit the topic of this discussion. So, that's a good thing to, give people a chance or whatever until it doesn't benefit what's actually going on. And so, the reason I said let me harp on this a bit is because I understand your purpose and, where are you from and this and that or whatever, so that you are putting your foot down on dignity and respect, and you're not tolerating dismissal, degrading, and the bullying bullshit anymore. I get that. But also, I just wanted to say from my perspective, my views, my life experiences, is getting to know people. And it's hard because you can't really get to know them. Even people that you are in relationships with, they don't even know who they are until something happens and they act a certain way that is against you or even against them themselves. So, but there's certain things that you can look for in a person's personality or their ways of behaviors, and the main thing is if they disrespect you, if they're just want you to listen to them and not they don't give a goddamn about who the hell you are. They just care about their issues, their views, and then they want to turn your mind into their favor. Like you're supposed to cater to them and lose yourself while you're catering to them. Almost 9 minutes in and I still haven't got to the comment. Okay, so the comment was, you are a Caribbean and you're going against Caribbeans. So the person, they was laying down how they felt in the structure of their life and what their topic was. And they said, they were an American, but their spouse was Caribbean. And so the comment went on to say that you're a hypocrite because you're married to a Caribbean and you're talking about a Caribbean, talking about Caribbeans. And she mainly was saying about the Jamaicans in Brooklyn, New York. And so that made me think about something. I'm going to give you an example. when I say all, it's never all people, right? I think that's what messes us up, because it's normal to get comfortable with I eat chicken every day. I want some fried chicken and some greens and some macaroni and cheese, and I crave it and I want it, but I want it the way I have learned how to eat it, and I have learned how to cook it, but I want it and I crave it, So it's easy to get comfortable with what we like. And then as far as the skin color and the races and stuff like that, what we're used to, it's easy to get comfort, especially personality. If your personality is one that you stick to one thing and don't veer out into anything else, you're going to get caught, you're going to get stuck, you're not going to be able to have your own mind to think for yourself. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. Let me land up here and I'll finish it in a minute. I just thought of something really quick. If you're on a committee and you're doing business and you're just doing some things as far as for people, you might have to, I want to say play with people, but you play the way they play you, for you to find out if this is someone that will benefit for your particular cause. Something like that. Like, you just can't be straight up, because sometimes they play the role, they act like they're something they're not, or you won't know their motives. So you have to play the game sometime with them to get through and pass the messiness. Okay, while I'm thinking about this real quick. So I'm going to hate you because I was taught that you are someone I need to hate because you don't look like me, walk like me, talk like me, act like me, think like me, believe like me. I'm going to treat you really bad when other people come around. I'm gonna wait till other people come around because that's my personality. I'm just not gonna do it and treat you bad any other time when we're alone, because I'm afraid of what, maybe you're afraid of what you might say to me or do to me, or the effects are not as strong as if I wait until, because I need a good laugh. That's my personality. So I'm going to wait until there's a group of people around, and it'll be more effective for me, and I'll get a good laugh and I'll feel real good about it, because that's my personality. That's the way I operate. I'm gonna treat you real bad because this is the way I was taught ever since I was younger, and I've seen the horrible things. And it's not horrible because you are a person that my family didn't like, so it was not horrible to hog tie you up and throw you in the back of a pickup truck and feed you to the coyotes and stuff. So now that I'm in a position, I can mimic the same thing hurt you in my position, whether I'm a teacher, whether I'm in the hospital, whether I'm behind a counter serving you food. I'm going to get you the same way I was taught how to get you. So, hate, envy, jealousy, rage, refuse to change, and that's okay, because it's good to protect yourself from those that don't want to change and understand the personalities and behaviors of those that do or don't want to change, so that you are protected the whole way around. Whether it be through food, whether it be through medicine, whether it be through the way you raise your kids when you send them off, or who's teaching them. So, and this goes with every color for race, racism, racial prejudice stuff. All right, here we go. That was something, I don't know what kind of point I was trying to make, but I was trying to make one. All right, so I wanted to talk about getting to know people and not holding on to my belief system and how I was raised, or how I came up, and how the things that were taught to me, those people think they're better, blah blah blah. It's always a good thing for me. There's so many good reasons why I can look back and say traveling the world and being around so many different people has done nothing but help me. There's so many examples and reasons why. And so here's one example of, like on the live, when you're always asking, where are you from? Where are you from? They're going to start lying to y'all. There was one young lady that got on and she started talking Jamaican, and then she started talking African, and then she started talking whatever, to let you know, just because somebody say they are something, like right now, they going along with you and saying where they from. But just because people do that, that ain't gonna last long. Okay? Especially when there's a motive or something always behind why people do what they do. Why do what it do. So they're gonna start, just be prepared. They're gonna start lying to you. So to get around that is to give people a couple of words. The more and more you are dealing with people, especially when you're out in the public and you're trying to pass laws and reject laws and sue people and just get to the nitty-gritty of doing what you do, that you believe in your heart, the more and more people you deal with, all it takes is for a couple of words, observing a couple of interactions with certain people, you're going to get it right away. So you just got to throw yourself in the fire, Let yourself get in the fire, but you're not going to burn. You're going to learn how to fight in the fire, depending on what you represent and depending on what you're doing. So, let's see. How does this relate? I'm thinking about PFC McNair. Private McNair. I didn't know when she was a private. I didn't know when she was a PFC McNair. Specialist McNair. Sergeant McNair. Staff Sergeant McNair. I just loved her. So, I worked with the Whiskeys. And this particular time, I was in Bragg or whatever. We were working at Womack, and so my spouse was deployed to Afghanistan, and he's working at the hospital at Womack. And so he came home, and they have their briefing or whatever to integrate back into the family after being deployed for so long. And I remember one day I had called in sick, and then it turned into 2 days. And that second day, Sergeant McNair was knocking on my door. I was like, why is she here? How does she know where, I live? Or, how does she, homegirl cared about me. She was like, you okay? You okay, Miss Brown? You okay? This was during the time the soldiers were coming back, killing their wives. Now, we didn't talk about it. We just happened to work in the hospital where we see things, we know things. She happens to be, at that time, active duty, where shit hits the blotter. They know what's going on, right? And so that instant impacted my life and stayed with me forever. It's one of those things where people come into your life and leave footprints. You know what I'm saying? So, and I bring this up to say McNair, she was West Indian. She was from the Caribbean, Jamaican young lady. And she was dark skinned. And I'm light skinned. My light skin didn't bother her. She never commented about it. She just, we just clicked. And her dark skin, I never told her my sister was just as dark as her, but we just clicked, right? And when we would go out on a smoke break, when I was smoking my Newports, and we go out on smoke break and we talk about, it was always business. It was always something productive when we talked. And, I'm sure we stimulated each other's minds. And when we got back to the workplace, we worked our asses off. You know what I'm saying? So I say that to mention the color. I say that to mention me being an American and she was a Caribbean, from the Caribbean, from Jamaica. And then when she did that, I just even got a stronger bond with her. The unspoken word of, I'm going to check on her because I know the dealio. I know she got talking about me, got a husband that was, just came back, and she stepped out of her element and came and checked on me. She didn't send a welfare check. She fucking came and wanted to see for herself. Later on down the line, I don't know if I was working somewhere else or what, and she came by and she needed my garage. I asked her no questions. Wasn't my business. What's going on? What's the family? What's this, that? No, of course you can. It was available. You can. You know what I'm saying? I seen her again in Florida out of the blue, and she ran up to me and just hugged me. Sergeant McNair. And so I say this to say, not all people, we all know that, but it's hard to understand that not all people are that way. And then those that, okay, so in those that are in a certain category or certain position, they say, well, you hate all of us because you're fighting for this and you're fighting for that, right? That's not what it is. It's just that people are learning and have to learn how to speak to one another and put their foot down without being mean. You're going to have to be dismissive because some people are very pushy and they won't allow you to get your message across. They won't allow you to help change laws. They won't allow you to, because their agenda is very selfish. And that's to say, not for all people. Some people are willing to listen and understand and come up with a solution that fits everyone, right? Now you're going to have the fakes like this. Okay, let me give you another example. I was in Florida. I went to I'm originally from New York, and I love Jamaican food. I love Italian food. In Germany, the Greeks cook Greek food. Germans cook German food. Italians cook Italian food. Some of the best food, right? And so I went and I used to get my Jamaican food in New York off of Linden Boulevard in Jamaica, Queens, right? Or even my beef patty with cocoa bread on Hillside Avenue. I wouldn't just get stuff from just anywhere. I knew my spots. So I went to Florida and I was like, ooh, they got Jamaican food, da-da-da-da. And so I went into the restaurant and I was like, these ladies don't look Jamaican. That's another good thing about being aware and around the world. But on your sign, your restaurant says Jamaican food, Jamaican food. And I go in there and I was like, first of all, and then this don't even smell right. And then I asked a couple questions about the food on the menu, and I was like, nah, man, this is como voulez-vous. This is like, come see, come ça. This is like, you know. So does this mean, and I walked out, I was like, no, I can't do it. So does this mean I hate and got to be mean to Haitian people? Hell no. I've met some of the sweetest, and I've gotten into some of the deepest conversations with some Haitian people. It's not all. Now, whether they deceiving in saying they were, you know, because they know Jamaican food is popular, this and that or whatever, or I don't know why they did it. But it's not to say, no, I don't hate a particular person just because that particular group, that was their nationality that did that, right? No, I've gotten in some real deep conversations with some Haitians, and you know, and like chopping it up back to back and helping each other out and blah 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 blah, like some real like normal human being shit, right? The same with, okay, let me give another example with white people. in the workplace. And I've worked a lot of different places, many different Army hospitals, various VA hospitals. In between our PCS moves, I've worked temp jobs, waiting to get back into the system while we're PCSing. So let me do the white and black thing. Now, those that I get along with, I can't get along with everybody, because everybody, can't get along with me, right? And I do have that, I have to know my own personalities. It was good to learn about my personalities. I have that strong personality. I was very high, rated high on that demanding type personality in the red on the disc, right? That controlling, and so once I realized that, I was like, how am I coming off to people, with my directness, my personality? So in the workplace, it's like, though some people have come to me and told me some deep stuff in private, being raised in the family, how they were raised, right? As far as black, looking at black people or thinking about black people, or, whatever. Their families being bigots and this and that. And some people I know still carry that. And so, no, I'm not going to go in there and bash them upside the head and say, you're going to respect and love every motherfucking black person that comes your way when I'm around you. Nah. The thing is, I think the point I'm trying to make, and I've started feeling this and understanding this lately, is like, I know people come from different backgrounds, and they know I come from a different background. The thing is to respect them for their background as they respect me for my background. Now, those that I get the fuck out of my face, like, I will, it's those that come to me and try to manipulate my mind to get me to think the way they want me to think, to get me to do what they want me to do according to their behaviors, their beliefs, and things of that nature. Now, those that are have that personality, are very demanding of that, I reject it. I get away from it. I may curse them out. I may fuss them out or whatever, but I do not accept that. Now, there are those that have that strong belief and stuff like that, but when they respect me, I respect them, and we can have a good time and we can chop it up. I hope that made sense. All right, I had another one here. I'm looking at this piece of paper I wrote. Is Muslims. A while ago, I think it was 2008. That's when I was on Twitter a little bit, quite a bit. And 2008 is when the Muslims took over the military spouses' accounts, right? They just took them over, and it was crazy. So, should I hate all Muslims because of that? 9/11 happened, and we were stationed in Germany, and should I hate all Muslims because of 9/11? And I had to go through that process because of the media, because I couldn't stay away from the media during that time, 9/11. The plane dropping out of JFK and LaGuardia, wherever it was, and all this other stuff going on. I had to find that within myself, like, why am I feeling this way, because the way I grew up, the Muslims that I knew, the Sunni on Jamaica Avenue, or Nation of Islam or whatever, especially the Sunni on Jamaica Avenue, and the ones that I knew, when we get together, it was always about learning, teaching me about real estate. Come and take this real estate test and get your license. Always talking about advancement, always stimulating the mind of growth. Never nothing sexual, never nothing demeaning, never nothing about the tone of my skin color. Just like learning, and they knew I wasn't their religion, and they wasn't my religion, but it was always pop, learning. How to eat, how to do this business, man. So after 9/11, I was like, I can't hate Muslim people. This is not me. The media just went all in on all Muslims. I couldn't do it. It's not me. One of my roommate from college boyfriends was Muslim. We used to go to his house, and he opened up a barbershop in Queens, and he was just like so positive. Such an empathetic guy. No way I can hate them. There was something else with the Muslims where there's some that say people should die, or I think they should kill people or something like that if they are gay. And this was a Muslim saying that. So that particular type of behavior or personality I would stay away from. I want nothing to do with, because I don't feel that way. What if I had children, family members, or people that I work with have family members that are gay? And they say they should be murdered for their choices or something like. No, I don't agree with that. But does that make me hate all Muslim? No. Hell no. I don't know. So I'm going to harp on and continue to harp on. I couldn't put my finger on it. When I was going through my little thing, and I thought I was gonna write a book about finding a path in deep waters, and then Dr. Ramani came out with a book, and it just explained it all. It just put the icing all over the cake when she said personalities, behaviors, and backstories. And then I started reading and understanding and watching more, and I'm like, God damn. Yep. Narcissistic personality disorders, narcissism, toxic, those words they don't want you to mention because you are exploiting them. And that's why it's very, very, I agree, it's very, very important, and I try, but it's hard to at all situations, and it gets tiring. Damn, it gets tiring. Is to name each situation in detail. Give specific details. Write it down so you remember it. Specific details on every situation, every problem, everything that comes out of somebody's mouth. You got to be specific. And right there, that's where I'm going to end this today. Good luck, y'all. Y'all are doing a wonderful job. So proud of you. But pay attention. Pay attention to those personalities, behaviors, and all that other jazz that go with it. Peace.